learned some things. They've learned a couple of things about themselves, to learn how to forgive themselves. They learn a couple of things. And as a result of walking through their journey, the first part, I tell people, the first part of your journey is basically to get to know you, who you are. We've been told who we are by other people and stuff like that. But then the fun part is when we start investigating us for our own self, and we learn a few things. We learn how to love ourselves, accept, and so forth. But then we come through all of that. We utilize tools to help us. Some people meditation, yoga, whatever it is, Matthew, to help them navigate through their hard times. And then we come out to the other side. And the other side, I tell people, it's the reward that we get an opportunity to live from and experience while we're here on the planet. And that is to serve others, Matthew. And you've been a servant for many years. And so, but you came from someplace that gave birth to this. And so what we do is investigate your metamorphosis, if you will, Matthew. How did you get from a young man to today? And then we're going to talk as we navigate through the conversation. We'll talk about everything. We will spend a great deal of time in talking about all the government programs and where you can go for help and all that stuff. But the first part of the conversation, we want to get to know you because, like I said, there was a genesis for all of this stuff that came, and a lot of people see you and on TV and so forth, but no one has really got into the story as to Matthew, as to what caused Matthew to become this type of prolific servant that is offering himself and his knowledge and his insight into all of these programs to help people that are struggling to move through their pain. So that's what we do here at Threads of Enlightenment.
You sure you got the right person? I didn't know.
Definitely got the right person.
Oh my God! I mean, to hear that is
most definitely.
So we were wondering that this doesn't sound like me. Who the hell are you talking about?
If you are willing, though, Matt, if you're willing to go through all of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I never have. I mean, I just follow my heart day by day. You know, there's no plan. There's no. I'm winging it every day. I think all of us do. I mean,
but you've gained much from that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing more than I ever thought I would be for a kid who barely flunked out of so many schools and grew up as a coal miner's grandson in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
But you are living where a lot of people don't understand that there's a transition to live from the heart.
Yeah.
Because most people reside, if you will, Matthew, in the mind, the natural mind, and they live there in the conscious mind, and they haven't learned to
absolutely
to live like you, and that's
we're
called to.
I'm so grateful
like that.
You say all that because that is what I really believe. I mean, it took me a long time and a lot of failure to realize that my heart is smarter than my brain. Yeah. And that's what I try to, my boys.
That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what we do here.
Good. I'm game.
You ready?
You betcha.
I'm ready, man. I can't tell you how excited I've been about this. I've been telling everybody, I'm like,
it's just me.
I call a couple of my friends and my sons, because Matthew, my sons also, I gave them those books.
Really?
And these are grown men now with family traveling the world.
Yeah.
Matthew, I gave them your books.
So how nice.
So
wow.
They're like, are you kidding? I'm like, no, I got him.
Wow. Well, awfully nice.
So you ready?
Yeah, it's a wonderful gift you're giving me. Thank you.
All right, here we go, Matthew. I'm excited about this. Let's bring you in, and then we'll have this conversation. I'm excited about this. Welcome to another episode of Threads of Enlightenment. As usual, guys, I like to welcome our guests because I know they're coming with a couple of things I deem very expensive. Time. 24 hours has been offered to every man and woman on this planet. How we utilize our time will tell me much about you. The other is the journey. The journey is a powerful created. It's created us. we're looking at us, and it's given us some insights and some stuff that inside this being of our that we want access to, and that is wisdom, knowledge, insight, all of those things. And I have a special guest in front of me today because I know Matthew has been very impactful in my life and many friends that I have, because I used to buy his books. And we haven't even started yet, and I'm telling you guys, buy his books. Get out there. There's a couple of new ones I know that he has, talking about help from government and all these different things. All of you that are in need, you're about to have a trip and a treat as we're walking through. So buckle up, get ready. Matthew, welcome to the President Enlightenment, man.
Oh, pleasure. Gosh, I still feel, I'm looking who you're going to interview. Who's this guy you're talking about? Well, that's awfully sweet of you. And it is a wonderful feeling to have anybody say that about me. And I am very grateful for my life. And
Matthew, one of the questions that I throw at people.
Yeah.
The first question that I throw at people, and I can't wait to ask you this question, because like I said, I've been excited, man. I can't wait to ask you this question because it'll give you an opportunity to do what you do. The question is this, and I tell people we have two parts to our journey, if you will, the independent part and the interdependent part. The interdependent part is where we serve others. How do you serve mankind, man?
Well, the older I get, the more I see that that's why the fuck I'm here. I mean, when you're starting out in life, you don't, at least I didn't grow up with that kind of thing. You grow up in a survival mode, and you're wondering how you're going to feed yourself and that kind of stuff. And that got, I don't, well, first of all, I was getting all the, I wasn't a good student, flunked out of a lot of things. And then after the military, after the Vietnam War, there was a draft, and I didn't want to be drafted because then I have to live in the jungles, and I'm not a good camper. So I joined the Navy. Clean sheets every night. That's right. Then I got out and got an MBA, and I mean, this is like the 70s, trying to. And I got into computers, and I was a computer science professor, then a consultant. I mean, my heart was always in it. I mean, I'd work for somebody and just hate it after 6 months, I think. But I wasn't sure why I hated it. I think I just hated being told what to do. That's why I didn't sit well in the military. And then I was doing everything the way people were telling me how to do it. Got an MBA, and this is how you start a business, and this is how you do everything, and following all that, and they were all failing. And God, I say, holy shit, this doesn't seem to be working for me. I mean, it seems like I'm doing things that I'm not happy doing. I'm just doing them because somebody said I'll be successful in doing that. And you don't know any better. We all struggle, so we don't know what to do. So we take advice, unfortunately. And it'll fail because it's not coming from you. So after about 2-3 failures like that, I said, well, I can't live like this. I can't be miserable doing something that I'm probably going to fail at. And the only hope I have is someday I'll be successful at it. But I'm going through misery trying to get there, and no guarantee I'll be success. So I said, "This is fucking stupid, man. I'm gonna be happy today because I have no control over my future. It seems." And the more I did that, the more things worked, and that's when I started feeling. What I called it at the time, now I use the heart metaphor, but at the time it was living inside out is what it's about. What we do is, it seems we're living outside in. We're putting shit on us that we think other people will say is cool or whatever. And that's not you, but you think it's you, or you think you're gonna make a lot of money, or whatever the hell it is. And I was failing at doing that, so thank God I was failing, because then I wouldn't dig down deeper. Then when I started doing, living the inside out, and that's what these wacky suits are all about, this is me inside, I was thrown off when I started wearing question mark suits, I guess I was in my 50s or so, I lost millions of dollars. I mean, you can't come on TV like that, you know. As a financial consultant, you look like a fucking clown. But this was me, and I gave it up. And that's the only way you're going to grow in life, is finding out who you are, so you could grow more.
Yeah,
And you have a lot to give. We all do, but you're not going to give a lot if you're trying to do somebody else's thing. You got to do your thing, whether it's a personal relationship. I mean, to me, life is, and like work, I mean, everybody doesn't want an easy job. That's stupid. We're here to grow and see what's in us and how much we can give to the rest of the world. And how are you going to do that? You don't do that in easy jobs. You do. I mean, it's sort of like, oh yeah, I'll play basketball against a 5-year-old. I'll win all the time, but you know, that's boring. And how do you use as much as you have, you know, so you could grow and to keep growing until you're out of here. And especially now that I don't worry about paying rent anymore or anything like that, it is that, and my work, I think what drove me initially, my work, I saw after I started this work by trying to make a buck, you know, and I was in Washington, and I was a consultant, an MBA kind of guy, and so I was helping Fortune 500 companies buy and sell companies. And I do the research for them, and I get find market studies for free, find money for them for free. All these millionaires, I would show them how to get all this more money. So to me, I was sort of like helping millionaires become billionaires, you know. And it was fun because it was my first successful business, but I didn't feel good. They're not fun to work with. And the thing in life is it's your journey. I mean, what you're doing every day is important. And that's why you're working to become New York Times bestseller. I remember when that happened to me, I flunked every English class I've ever had. So to me, to be a New York Times bestseller, I was like Mars. So I called that fucking English teacher. But I mean, so to have goals like that, you do it, and then you call and show off to all your friends for one day, and then you got to go to work the next day. You got to do something. So it's that doing something every day that is so much more important than goal. I mean, a goal is nice and all that. There's not bad parts of it, but you have to have the right goals. The problem is most of our goals are to impress other people, not ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we get trapped into that, and it's too bad. And now, tell you the truth, at 81, my theory is, how many more people can I help before I die? You know, what the fuck else we have better to do in life? And I'm fortunate I have learned something that could help people. I mean, I can't get over you know, when people call up and tell me, oh, I got this number and I got 6 months of back rent paid. Holy shit, you know. It's not my back rent I didn't create the money that's there, you know. So it's nothing, I didn't cure cancer or anything. I just pointed somebody. But if my little work is able to relieve that stress or whatever in an individual, I see nothing else I should do for the rest of my life, and every day that I get up, and I do that every day, and it's such a gift to be able to give so hard. I mean, we don't want to love a little bit. Oh yeah, I love you, sort of. You want to love hard. You know, and you want to give hard. So it's a personal relationship of love or professional relationship to help the community or something like that. You want to, you know, do it 150%, not 80% and go take a vacation. Maybe you need a vacation or whatever and recharge or whatever. But I mean, to me, I grew up. My father's generation was the ideal was you work for a whole shitload of years and then you go to Florida and play golf for the rest of your life. Why would you want to go the rest of your life and do something you're shitty at? That just couldn't, you know, you're lousy at
the program they teach them though.
And so you find something that you're really good at.
Tell them to do.
Pardon me? I said, Yeah. So that's
That's
what
what they tell them that they should be doing.
I
They're
know.
trying to program them and say, hey, this is what you do. And like you
I know.
said,
It
you have
just
to find what excites you, man. It's your
absolutely.
life. It's not their life, man. Just you
Absolutely.
gotta
And
come
that's, I
out of
think, the
that,
audacity.
you
I mean,
know?
what gives
You
anyone the
know?
audacity to tell somebody else what to do with their lives when no one on this planet knows every day what to do with their own lives? We're all
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah. You're
Everybody is.
absolutely right.
And so
Yeah,
people that you go and give, here's the 5 steps to success, and that I think is a terrible trap, because nobody's X number of steps to anything is ever going to work. And because
yeah,
anything you do that's new, you're going to fail at it. So the problem is going and paying a lot of money to somebody tell you what the next steps to live is that all those steps aren't going to work. So the first step that doesn't work, you're just, hey, that guy's an asshole, and you don't know what to do then. And that's just a bump in the road. That's what anything. I mean, you go to ride a bicycle, you're going to fall on your ass.
yeah,
I don't know how many times. You go to walk. My kids. I mean, you had children too. I remember the boys. They crawl over to the coffee table, pick themselves up, and try to take a step and fall on their butt. Right, and so they have to do that. But when they become a grown-up and they ask me what to do, I say, no, don't do that, you're gonna fail. If I said that when they were trying to walk,
yeah,
they're gonna fail, they'd never walk. I'd be pushing them around in a wheelchair, right? So you have to go
yeah.
and fail. And that's why I think if your heart is in it,
It's a part of
that,
life. It's a part of movement.
yes,
Yeah,
and keep going forward with your heart,
yeah,
then you'll get over any problem, because life is problems, not life is easy. We try to, pay money to people and everything, tell us how easy life is, and they'll tell you that to get your money.
yeah.
But it ain't. I mean, athletic coaches don't
You
say,
had
oh,
mentioned this.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
You had mentioned this, and I want people to understand that. Because when they look at people in the top, Matthew, they think these successful guys don't ever, they get more free money than anybody else. And then these people need to understand that they hire folks like you that had the knowledge, the research, whatever, to go and find
Right,
those free money for them and bring it to them.
right,
These guys are much more aggressive in
absolutely.
getting free money than the common individual that is struggling where it's available for them to get, because they're so busy trying to survive, Matthew.
Absolutely.
They have to bring the home, they keep their face
Absolutely.
down and just trying to move through. But these guys,
Right.
they are getting billions and millions of free dollars that the government gives to them. And then when we start going for it, the little man they start yelling and screaming and telling us how we're draining the system with the
Stupid.
little peons and little money we're gonna
Absolutely.
get. And they get millions.
All right.
Talk to the people about that, because a lot of them, Matthew, don't believe that they do this.
Well, just look at Trump.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
every billionaire now is at his coffee table every day now. Why? Because they know it's easier for them to make another $1 billion using the government than going out and doing it by themselves. I mean, Leon or whatever his name is,
He got money.
yeah, he got
billions
$5
from the United
billion from the government. He's got more money from the government than anybody else on the planet. Yeah. And that's it. And all these billionaires from a high-tech company, they wouldn't put their foot in Washington 10 years ago. Now they're all over these people. And that's why they're rich. See, that's how I learned. I learned it helping the rich people get this. I said, Jesus. In Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, has to know about this stuff. Not the rich people. They'll find out. They'll hire people like me or whatever, to find it, and then complain when somebody's getting too much food stamps or something. Now here's a new program that came out. Biden came out with last year. It's to help people pay utility bills. It's a big program. It's going to go on every year for 10 years. The first year it came out was 23, and we don't have the data for 24 yet. And they gave out $8 billion for people to get up to $40,000 a piece to cut their utility bills. So it's people to save utility bills. Okay, here's how the money was spent, the $8 billion. The richest people, the top 25% of this country, got $5.5 billion of that. 65% came to the top richest 25% of people in the country. Now that means starting at $100,000 to $100 million. So you're a millionaire and you're getting $40,000 to lower your utility bills. Now, I don't think these people will be thrown out in the street if they don't pay their utility bills. Now, the poorest people, the bottom 25%, the richest people got 65%. The bottom people, which is about $5 billion, the bottom 25% got less than $1 billion. Nothing, And you're right. I mean, if you're poor, you don't have time. I was reading some literature recently. Being poor in this country is like not sleeping at night, how you feel. I mean, you're just behind that 8 ball 24 hours a day waiting for another shoe to fall. And it's, and what is a bigger disaster, I think, sorry, I feel like, remember H. Ross Perot?
Yep.
Remember all his charts he had?
Yeah, he used to bring it all the time.
Yeah, I did a book on him too. I said, get to know Perot.
Carver used to play him pretty decent.
Right, exactly. Well, this is poverty in the developed countries. Okay, so Thailand's not in here. These are developed countries. So the top 30 richest countries. And the poverty rate. Okay, this is from the OECD. It's an international organization, collects this data. Okay, so number one on the percentage of people in poverty in all the developed countries is, guess who? Us. Yep. We're number one. See, that's what they say. We're number one. We're number one. We create more poverty people than anybody else in the world, in the developed world. I mean, that's a sin, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not God, I really don't know. But that's what keeps me going. I mean, obviously but there is so much hurt out there. And people are getting, well, another, here's the big graph. Okay, 1980 is about when I started work. And we were pretty, income inequality was, not even a term at the time. That's back here. Okay, now since 1980 up to current time, this is wages. The average wage grew from 1980 to now, increased 33%. That's for the bottom 90% of people. So 90% of us saw a wage increase in 50 years by 30%. But guess who did pretty well? The top 10% got a wage increase of 170%. So nobody's wages increased much in 50 years. I mean, we're a declining country, obviously. We're not going to be the king of the world anymore, and that's over. And what happens, though, if your wage increases 30%, but prices of what you have to buy increases 295%. So that's, 300% versus 30%, you don't have enough to live, right?
There's no way.
Yeah, and so that's,
You can't make that deficit up.
Yeah, you can't. Well, what we do it in all these things fell on the floor as soon as.
No, I want you to show them, Matthew.
Yeah.
They need to
Yeah,
know
because the way we covered that loss is debt. So back in 1980, we had about $9,000 of debt, the average person. Now we're up to $139. Yeah, or $136. So we're making up for it by going in debt. Yeah. And so you're in debt, you can't do shit, prices are going up, your wages aren't. But but the
I
country,
think it's gonna go even higher in a few more years.
oh,
because
God,
of
yeah.
Any of the tariffs start hitting, I think.
Right, oh, yeah,
American
that's something
will go
apparently,
into
yeah.
the,
But we're growing as a country. I mean, we're growing like hell. I mean, we're growing, there's other countries growing better than we have, but we're still growing. But it's, the piece of the pie to 90% of us are getting smaller. The piece of the pie, the top 10% is getting bigger. And
Talk to
unfortunately,
them, Matthew, let's talk to them for now, because let's go straight into this, because people are hurting, as you said.
yes,
You saw that, and you just put the chart and showed us where the money is going, basically, where the bulk of the money is going. And so there are many families out there, Matthew, right now, are, like you said, the landlord is,
right,
they got that
yeah.
3-day notice, they got all those type notices, and some of them you talked about, you showed them about the electricity and stuff like that, all the power. Talk to them about other stuff. Bring to their awareness, Matthew, because they're not aware of it. And again, because
That's
they're
right.
busy, they're running around trying to
Exactly.
live, man.
Right.
You know? And the work that you do is so invaluable that there is an individual that has been touched to a fashion where he does the research, where he goes out and gather all of the data, and then he puts it into a format whereby you guys can have access to it. That's why I tell you guys from the beginning of this program, buy the books, because I'm telling you, they helped in my life and my family and friends and stuff like that. I remember Matthew on TV, and I was like, wait a minute, and I got me a couple of those books and tried on my own, and I got some help when I needed it. And I was a young man coming up with 4 boys.
Wow.
And I'm telling you guys, get the books. You think I'm joking, but I'm a living testament of his work in someone's life. So that's why I was excited in having him here, because I now know what he is capable of doing, and now it's available to those that are listening to us here at President Lightning. Matthew, talk to them. It's here. 2025 is January, the end of the month, and all the bills and everything is coming, man. Point them to some programs that are out there that you deem important for that individual to know about, so that they can have access to help.
No, that's the key. We're not trained. See, this is another graph. My H. Ross Perot thing. Our economy is made up of 2 sections. Okay, it's capitalism, and it's what I call the free money economy. Capitalism is the yellow part, and that's 60% of what our economy is capitalism. And you could access that by Google. And that's what people do. So they have a problem and they go to Google. But you have to remember, Google is capitalism. You can't get anything from capitalism unless you have money. But that's the only place we know. So we go there and we put in rent or something. We get, 150 million websites of people that are going to help us pay rent if we have money. Not going to give you money. But 40% of our country is government and nonprofit organizations that give out free money. Now this is what you have to look for when you're looking for help. You don't go to Google, because everything there is .com. They may be in there, but you'll never find them. The marketing is too good. It's swamp water and sharks and everything. You got to stay out of there. It's sort of like a drunk going into a bar and say, I'm not going to drink today. You can't go in there. You're not going to get out alive. You have to stay out. You got to get here, because everybody on this side of the equation, that's 40%. This is 40, this is 60. Everybody here gives money for free.
Yeah.
Everybody does. It's like, it's our firemen. But we have firemen for financial problems. We have firemen for starting a business. So if you have a problem, if your house is on fire, right, you don't go to Google, because Google maybe come out, but they want your credit card first, right? Before they help you. No, you go this and call the fire department. They come out and just help you. No charge, nothing. So we built up a society that has lots of this stuff. And that's why all these fat cats are in Washington now, because they want this money now too. Not only this money, they want this money. And that's what I'm trying to teach people. And it's a little different because, see, over here, people will kiss your ass to help you because they want to get your money. Here, no, you ought to kiss their ass because they get paid no matter if they help you or not. So it's being nice. And people call up the government and they get angry because they're not helping them. You got to learn the system. That's how you get help. You don't force somebody to do something that by law they're not allowed to do. You're looking in the wrong place. And that's the problem I face, and is trying to educate people about that. And Ken, one thing too, I don't do books anymore. I haven't run a book in 10, 15 years or something. I have a website where people help people get these programs. So we got 15,000 people on a community that help each other, and that is so rewarding. I've never been so, you see it so useful, because it's not me telling you what to do. I dress like an idiot and scream and shout. Yeah, he could do it, but I won't be able to. But you have people like you say, hey, I just got this stuff. And they tell you how they did it and things like that. So here, now let's help some people now and show them how to do it. Can you go online? Oh, wait a minute, you're overseas, you can't. See, you probably can't get into government databases because, but here's what to do. If you need help to pay for anything, you go to findhelp.org. Findhelp.org. .org. You're not going to go to anything but .org or .gov. .org. You go to findhelp.org. You put in your zip code. And then when you put in your zip code, it'll show you all the nonprofit organizations and government offices that give away money in your zip code. I mean, there'll be 2,000, there'll be 5,000, sometimes I see 6,000. But that many just in one zip code. See, what people go to Google and try to find rent money or something, and they'll find, first of all, you put rent grants or something like that, and you'll get 200 million websites. Just people know you're in trouble. They have something to sell you. But here, you put, like where I live, if I put in rent grants, I'll get 72 organizations that help you pay rent. 72 not one, not two, not three, 72 organizations that help you pay rent. I mean, that's astounding to me, and that's what you have. So you have a universe of only people who give out money. Maybe you're not eligible for a lot of these things, fine, but now you know these are only people that give money. You go to Google and do that, you'll find only people that want to get your money, not give you money. And this is...
We will provide those things, Matthew. We'll make sure that they have those links.
Okay.
And all of those guidance. We are going to mention them to the audience so that they can get to it. Because like I said, I remember as a young man in transition with work and stuff like that, and I was able to get help because of Matthew and his knowledge, and it rescued me when I was in a dark space and where I didn't think I was going to ever come out. So I know where you are, and I know where you can get help. And so I'm telling you where to go get help. And we're going to make sure all that site and everything that Matthew talked about. He said that he hasn't written a book, but those sites I'm going to make sure those links bear all of them, and for you to get access to some of the pressing ones as far as that we see and notice, we'll put in there. But as he said, just get to that site, that link, put in your zip code, your area code, and so forth, and you're good, man. And just make some calls and get going and rescue yourself and breathe, because I am telling you, and Matthew just told you, those guys are coming after that percentage that it belongs, that are set aside for us. They're coming for it because there's a lot of money there.
Absolutely.
And he showed you on the onset of that split up where 8 billion and 5 went to them, and so please get help, seek help. Don't believe that there is no help out there, because we know some people when they don't see any help, Matthew, we know what they do, so we don't want you to get there. Seek help from all the places and the people in your neighborhood. Matthew, talk to us as to, um, I know you've been on this road of self-development and living from your heart
Mhm.
for a pretty long time now. Talk to those about, you mentioned some of it, about living. And I keep telling people the journey is learning how to disconnect from your natural mind, because your natural mind got so much baggage. You
Right,
got the information from mommy, daddy, your
right.
uncle, your best friend, your cousin, your dog, your cat,
Let
the
alone the
commercial you
internet.
just saw.
Right.
I mean, you got all kinds of
Yeah,
information, but there's this little beat that is inside of you that is just there, and it might be art, it might be something that they, who your daddy, your uncle, and everybody
right,
telling you that you'll never do this, you'll never do that. Don't listen to those folks, because
right.
they never did nothing. Look at them.
Exactly.
So look at you and give yourself the opportunity to introduce yourself to yourself. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's freedom right there. So Matthew, talk a little about that, because a lot of
Well, you're
people are
right.
living in that
I
room for
remember
everybody.
my youngest son. Uh, he graduated from college, came to Washington, wanted to work on the Hill, couldn't get a job on the Hill, and got a job at some PR thing and hated it. Then he read about Obama, and he wanted to give up his job and go volunteer for Obama. This is way back in the beginning, and we talked about it. And I said, "Man, if you're waking up every day and it's tough to go to work, uh, that's when I came up with your heart is smarter than your brain. Just fucking do it, because your heart is telling you what to do, and then your intellect and your friends, to me, want to protect you from failing." So they say,
Yeah.
don't do that. You got a good job now. You got a pension. I'm fucking 23 years old. What cares about a pension? Yeah. And it's just so stupid the way we live, and not grow. And this guy really, the superstar, and the other guy is an off the grid guy, and he wanted to do that. And that's, I think, loving somebody. And now I get into really about love. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I couldn't even say the word. I thought if I said the word love, I had to marry you. And it's just the last couple of years I started saying it more. And what helped me was a lesbian friend who we got real close and everything. And I was able, she was my gateway drug on saying I love you without having to feel I had to get married, because she was safe, right? She wasn't interested or whatever. And so then that was a practice, how to say love. And now, and it's this has been just a couple of years ago. I mean, this is maybe 3-4 years ago, when I started practicing opening my heart, trying to open your heart every day, somehow, and somehow even saying the word love opens that. And now there's men I could say that to now for the first time without any, at 81 years old, that it's a little safer too, not be canceled everywhere you go.
It's an important aspect of our life.
Yeah.
Because I remember with my parents, my mom I can't remember ever hearing it until I was an adult sometime, and then she mentioned that. And
My house was same like that. We were all nice people, but nobody said that.
Yeah, no one said that.
Yeah.
But with my siblings, though, Matthew, we made it a point to say it to each other.
Oh, nice.
And so after we finish our conversation, we would always interject and say, "Hey, I really love you. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here."
that's
And
nice.
so we started doing that.
Yeah.
And one day, my brother and I were talking, and we realized that our kids were doing the very same thing.
Right.
We and I tell people, every family, I believe, Matthew, has an opportunity to change some of those generational things
right.
that govern us. And when you have those opportunities, take it, because it will change the trajectory
Right.
of your family. It might not be all in your generation, but
Right.
trust me, once the seed is planted,
Right.
just like it was before, this seed will grow just like any other seed. So I always challenge people, especially that love piece. It is the foundation, man, by which we move and think. Because if I love you and I love me, then all this war and this madness and the killing and all the things will begin to slowly subside. But it'll take us some time, but we have to recognize the power that is in that emotion and in that interaction with each other when we look at each other and say, I love you, and not be canceled out, as you say. You know, so talk to us a little, because I know your work, the body of your work that you do, and the impact. And you mentioned it about this, you know, a lady came up to you, and I know you must have millions of stories. Matthew, talk to us about a couple of those, because I want people to hear some of the stories, because it's just like them. It's people just like them.
It is.
That are going through these things, and it's not anything different. And don't allow fear. Don't allow pride.
Right.
Don't allow those type emotions to steal your blessing. Because if you're prideful, you're not going to go get the help. Oh, this, oh, that. Nobody in the family ever did that. My family is going to think this. I mean, all of those nonsense that you're going to think, and then your family's suffering and sinking. No, put all of that stuff aside. Humble yourself and go and seek help. Become one of a contrite heart, if you will, and humble yourself, and you will be amazed at the response of another human who has gone through those pains and has humbled themselves. Their reaction to you, I guarantee you, they're not going to be screaming at you, because they know the courage it took from you to come and make that first step. And so talk to them, Matthew, and make them familiar with some of those stories, some of those people out there when they came and got help, and what it looked like.
Another thing comes to my mind as you say that, you're giving someone else an opportunity to grow their heart. Because I feel giving is very selfish.
Yeah.
If you're giving, that feels so good. Someone say, "Oh, you give so much, Lesko." Oh, no, it feels good. This is why I'm doing it, not for you. It feels good for me. I'm a selfish bastard. So that's why you're giving somebody an opportunity to help you, which is a wonderful gift you're giving them.
Yes.
Here's a fellow who's a member of LeskoHelp.com is my community of people. There's 15,000 of them that help each other. And he wrote that, and I'm trying to get them to get on the phone. See, don't look, everybody wants to, give me an application to fill out. No, it's too complicated for that. You have to get on the phone and find out the right application. And you're only gonna do that by talking to people. You don't know what the fuck the government means by any of this stuff. So you have to call. And he said, I'd like to tell people in Illinois to call the HUD number for questions. I finally became proactive and called on Thursday. I reached the call center. I was pleasantly surprised when I had a very nice lady that took all the time I needed to get information about the 203K program. I don't know. I wholly understand why Mr. Lesko says to call. If I hadn't called, I wouldn't have known about this lady. She said there were grants. I didn't even ask for a grant, but she was telling me about it. Mr. Lesko advised me that to help. Oh, she went into great deal about the information available, and she sent me an email of instructions so I could follow along as she explained the program. Short story is that I was able to get $35,000, and she said, next month you can apply for $75,000. And then at the end he says, call, and make sure you thank Mr. Lesko. I love to hear that. Now here's another thing. Lady just yesterday on one of our members' stuff, here's one too here. I think we all appreciate that Lesko wasn't doing anything illegal. A lot of people think I'm a scammer, you know. He wasn't scamming anyone and was generally selling a product that contained the information advertised. You can certainly appreciate the hustle, if nothing else. Actually, technically, his first book wasn't plagiarized, at least in a legal sense. All publications of the government are automatically in the public domain. See, my first New York Times bestseller, this is how I became a bestseller. I plagiarized a book in the government printing office. I just copied the whole goddamn thing and changed the title. And that's not illegal. And it became a New York Times. My dad bought his book. He actually got 3 grants for our homestead. It totaled $25,000 altogether. I remember him listening to my dad talk to him on the phone. He was super nice and helpful. Read this book, Information Unlimited, many years ago. It saved me time, money, and considerable aggravation. Well, that's all this stuff. I got a $1,000 small business grant from one of his books, which I bought at a thrift store. I made so much difference. It bought so much needed tools for my business to grow. I was a broke student at the time I saw Lesko's commercials. I reached out to him. He actually sent me a book for free, and it was super helpful. I have only good things to say about him. This one. This is a woman saying about me, I think you are a real down-to-earth person, and that's why we trust you. I am making progress with the USDA on a grant to build a greenhouse because we are in a food desert area. We can get up to $15,000, and our chances are looking good. Thank you very much. And I just got my electric bill paid. $400 paid my electric bill. And what she really says, once I started picking up the phone and calling people is when I started seeing results. That's the key. You have to pick up the phone and start calling people to see results. I don't, and
Pride, Matthew, the pride will make you not make that phone call.
Right.
Fearfulness is another that will make you not make that phone call.
Oh, absolutely.
What people think about you is another
Oh,
reason why
man.
you start all these things that mean nothing in the scope of your need.
Absolutely.
That
Here's something that, when I was first starting a business, I had to make cold phone calls. I couldn't pay for advertising. Making a cold call, oh God, that was so hard. Sitting in my 1-bedroom apartment and having to make phone calls or whatever. And I would see anything to not make that call. It was sort of like writing a term paper that was due tomorrow. And I'd find, the oven needs cleaning. I better do that first. And then I talked myself into, now what is the worst that could happen? I'm going to call him on the phone. What is the hand going to come over and choke me to death or something? Nothing, but you're right. It's such a hurdle we have in our psyche that stops us from helping ourselves. And all it takes is dial in the number. You don't even have to dial anymore. You just push buttons.
And just like Matthew was reading about that gentleman previously, the first gentleman, the people on the other side,
Yes.
they are so helpful and they want to help you. And he didn't even ask for things,
Exactly.
but they will point you to places that you didn't even know.
Right. See, I mean,
help you.
what would be a better job than handing out tens of thousands of dollars to people? You're like the millionaire on TV, you know?
I'm telling you guys, take the phone and make the phone call. If you have to go and hide in the closet, that's okay.
Right.
Hide in the closet.
Right.
Whatever you have to do.
Exactly.
For you know, if you're ashamed, which is another thing, Matthew.
Yes.
Shame.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
is
God.
another big thing that one has to overcome when you are going to deal with all of these different things and making that phone call. And I'm telling you, I'm talking from experience. So,
yes, definitely.
Put all of that stuff aside and make the phone call, because they will help you to get you the desired outcome. Now, if they don't know how to help you, a whole ton of them will steer you to the place.
That's the other thing. When you call and they can't help, then you have to get another source from them, because they help people like you, so they know other people in the business that do this stuff. They're the best source of more help.
Best source and best resources wanting to help you. So please, as you're listening to this conversation, make sure that you have all of that. I'm gonna, like I said, Matthew's helpline and all those different things. We're gonna have all those links and up to all the programs, and make sure that you sit down, get your need list together, because you have to have that in order so that you can be very specific in your conversation, and so you're not wasting time. Just sit down, look at it, be realistic. I need it for this month, next month, whatever. Let them know what your
Yes,
need
that's right.
is. And then they will be able to look with
Right.
you 5 months, 6 months, and they
Right.
may say, like they said to this gentleman, next month, if you apply, you
Uh-huh.
can get 75.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
be honest with them.
Right.
Um, Tell them your need, what is it
Right.
exactly, and give them the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to
Right.
serve you the way they really want to serve you. Don't hide
Absolutely.
from them.
Absolutely.
Don't surprise them with anything.
Uh,
Just be very open, and they are very kind and empathetic people that they are working there, and they will steer you to where you need to be, and you will be sending Matthew those letters about all those good things, and like I have been telling him
yeah.
since we started this thing of the good things that he did for me and my family as well. So this is a gentleman that has, I think he's one of those bright stars here on this planet, and I think he will be even more brighter still when he in the skies. You'll see and we all look at that's Matthew because he's been shining down on us all for a long time, many decades, trying to guide us as to where we can go to get our help that we need because we are too busy to go get it. And so we have someone who is willing to do the work, if you will, to gather the data and put it in a space by which you can have access to it, but also he's telling you how to get access by making that phone call so that you can initiate your rescue, if you will, for you and your family so you don't have to be stress kills, man. Trust me. I worked in healthcare, and it can morph into all kinds of dis-ease and stuff like that because there's no outlet for the stress, and so we can't sleep. As a result of can't sleep, there's so many different things that will kick into place. So please, we don't want you, and I know this is the heart of Matthew. He doesn't want you to be any more suffering than you have to be. That's why he's doing what he's doing. So let's make him proud and by going and making those phone calls and getting rescued. So Matthew, talk to me as to you said you're at this stage of your life and you're like just having fun time, man. Talk to us about the fun time, Matthew, because it's a lot of people don't know that when they begin to live their life, it's a fun time. No one says it's going to be easy. We just said it's going to be fun, and you'll learn
Yeah.
some things within the hard times, but all of it when you look back in retrospect.
Oh,
Those are
absolutely.
the times that help you smile even wider because you look back and go, damn, I made it out.
Right, exactly. No, and that's the truth, and they're the growth spurts in life. The bad times and the hard times. Anybody could have success is easy. I mean, you're not going to grow if you're successful all the time. You can't, and so that's why I think that's so right. And it's such a struggle every day, and you have to find it. There's no encouragement to be you. And that's what so you have to take control of being you. Nobody else is going to tell you how to be you because they think being them you should be. And you can't be them because you're not them. So we have to be us. And that's your superpower. So, and I think what we have to do is find what our superpower is. And that's hard because we look for advice and nobody knows us like us. And so we have to listen to us and our heart to do that. And clues you could get, like if somebody says something's weird about you, but that's easy to you, that's probably a superpower there somewhere, to explore. And that's, we know encouragement because schooling and all that, they have this checklist for you to be a success. And we're all artists, and our canvas is our life. So we have to design our own canvas, and you don't tell Picasso what to put on his canvas. And he doesn't even know until he starts. Puts a little bit of ink or paper, paint, and and then you think anything you need to develop that idea is available free, but it's not in Google. So you can't go to
There's
Google.
incubators all over the place that
Exactly.
you have to look into.
Yeah,
All of it. They'll even
absolutely.
teach you how to dress for the first time when you're going out there for that microloan or whatever
Right.
you're doing, and they'll put you before venture capitalist, the whole 9 yards,
Yeah,
guys. They will
absolutely.
walk with you, but you
Absolutely.
have to step out. And again, I mentioned a bunch of spaces that we allow to dominate our life to keep us from our blessing, which is we talk about fearfulness, we talk about anger, we talk about shame, we talk all about all
Right.
those things. Don't allow those things either to steal your blessing, and so you can walk through and come on out. Matthew, man, this has been a good one. I know it's different from how you usually do your thing, because I watched a couple of your stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you, man, for coming and
Hey,
spending
no,
the time here with me and allowing us the opportunity to see a side of you that most don't get an opportunity to see, to engage in the conversation. We get to see the servant part, but here we got a chance to see both the vulnerable individual along with the servant and what caused him to become a servant. And so we are honored to have you here because, again, I know the work that you have done and continue to do on this planet is for us, that percentage that they are not, nobody cares about, and you have shined a bright light onto us so that we can be guided into
my
this.
food. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what I say now, oh, you did, okay.
Oh, I know I thought I didn't want to keep you too late.
Oh, that's
Man.
good. No, right. No, 11, I better get going. No, one thing come to mind is that, God, if I knew 81 was going to be this much fun, I would have got here earlier. What took me so long to get here?
Matthew, I was losing my house
Wow.
when you came into my space. I was laid off.
Uh-huh.
My company went bust here in Florida, and couldn't find anything. I was having such a difficult time transitioning, and 4 boys,
Wow.
and just losing my mind.
Yeah.
And there you were, 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the morning when you drove up or even pacing the floor,
Right.
and everybody's asleep. And I purchased your book, and I was able to get help to rescue my house, rescue my
Wow.
life.
Gosh,
And ever since after that, I have been offering your books
Yeah.
back, and then at the time I used to buy it by bulk and just give it to people.
Oh,
as
wonderful.
presents.
Thank you. But now, if
what
people
you did
looking
for
for me now, it's lesgohelp.com.
Yeah, let's go help.
Okay,
I have it.
okay, great.
And I will point them all to it,
Right.
and to make sure that they get into that community as well,
Right.
so that they can see some of those testimonies
Yeah.
and maybe get motivated,
Right.
to make that phone call,
It's hard. They need encouragement. And that's why
Yeah.
here, the community is more encouragement. A book, you have to be self-motivated.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a diet book. We sell millions of diet books and everybody gets fatter.
Yeah.
So you
I'm
need,
gonna tell them.
yeah,
I'll tell them, because as I said, I know what it did for
yeah,
me.
yeah, no, that's sweet.
So, and whatever else you need from us, please let me know. And we're
Will
gonna
do.
stay in touch, Matthew. I'm gonna stay in touch. I'll send you some emails and update you as to what I'm doing in my little space.
Well, what are you doing in your space? I'm not clear. Are you a consultant or?
No, I just do this podcast and talk to people like you to get me excited and make me.
But you gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, I'm retired. I
Oh.
live off my little retirement,
Uh-huh.
and I travel with my money, and
Oh, wonderful.
I'm trying to get my site, my Threads of Enlightenment site, monetized, as they say
Right.
on Google, and I'm getting there.
Yeah,
Getting closer.
good. Well, let me know if you want to brainstorm on that, okay?
Will do.
Okay.
Definitely, man.
Take care,
All right.
man.
Go ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.